There we go. Pin the video. And I'm going to take the block and I'm going to stick it between my feet to sit on it like so in a Virasana. You don't have to do that. If you want to sit another way, that's absolutely fine. And to begin with, anything that helps you to feel kind of a sense of deep settling and centering. The world is a little bit nutty. That's a lot nutty, actually. And so here we are together, this beautiful opportunity, not just to feel good, right? That this practice is not just about self-soothing or feeling good together, but it's also a reaffirming of our commitment to be of benefit, right? Not just for ourselves, but for others. This is a practice to reaffirm our commitment to not turn away, from anything, anyone's suffering or our own suffering. It's not a diversion, the yoga practice. It's a way to resource ourselves. So we begin by centering, right? We resource ourselves by finding our center, by letting the breath connect us to something underneath the busy surface waves. And as we do that, we build our capacity. We build our own capacity to dial down the harm in the world. And it starts with ourselves. One body, that's it. One body can really make a difference. So breathing into this one body, can you fill the torso with an inhale that you can feel right down to your guts? And on the exhale, feeling a dropping into the full body. So breathing in all the way down to the guts, to your very center, to your deepest. And on your exhale, inhabiting, dropping in, but also a letting go, letting some softness come into the body. And then we'll begin with one Om. If you want to join me, you're very welcome to, or you can just listen, taking a breath in. Oh. Feeling the lift of the back body as if there's a current of energy, a current of effort running up the back of the body, at the back of the spine. And then this beautiful, gracious softening down the front of the body, a tenderness that flows down the front. So you can come back to that anytime you like, that feeling of energy and effort kind of rolling up from the ground up the back of the body, and then this sweet waterfall of softness that comes down through the front of the body. Hi, Joan, I'm glad you made it. So we're going to start with a pranayama practice today. If you want to have a tissue handy, feel free to grab one. It's a Kapalabhati practice, and I'm going to explain it before we do it. So what we're going to do is we're going to reach our arms up. I'm going to stick my thumbs out, kind of a little bit Kundalini style here, and have arms up at a V. And we're going to take about, 20 rounds or so, right? Snapping the belly. Back, back, back to force the exhale out. And then we're going to bring the arms up. I'm going to change my camera just a bit here. Hook the thumbs. Take a huge inhale. Hold the breath in, maybe even a little tuck of the chin back. And then when you need to exhale, the arms can float down, palms to thighs, and a big soft exhale. Okay, so that's how we're going to roll with our breath today. So you can just take a nice clear the land kind of a breath. Breathe in. Put it all the way out, and then take your arms up, make little fists, stick the thumbs up into the sky, another clear the land breath. And then you'll breathe in for your Kapalabhati practice. So go ahead and start forcing the breath out from the low belly. Five, four, three, two, one. Arms up, hook your thumbs, big inhale. It's wide, it's deep, it's 360-degree breathing. When you reach the top of the inhale, hold the breath in gently. You could bring your chin back and down a slight bit. Try to keep your skin soft. your face soft. That feeling of effort and energy rolling up like a current up the back body, and gentleness, tenderness softening down through the front body. When you need to exhale, your hands float down to your thighs. You can let all the breath out. And then we're going to do that one more time, but we're going to change our leg position and feet position. So I'm going to take the block and stick it under my knees this time. I can't figure out where to put my camera today. I don't know why I'm having trouble here. So the block is going to go on its short side for me, but everybody might be different. And you could use a pillow or whatever you've got here. And then I'm going to have my toes curled under and my knees on the block. So a little toe stand, but with support. You can do it without support, if that's okay, but we're going to be here for that whole pranayama exercise. So I would suggest being a little kinder to yourselves than you might usually be. And then same thing, arms up. You're going to make fists, stick your thumbs out, take a breath in and out, just nice and easy. And then go ahead and start your Kapalabhati. Keep it going, keep it going. I'm going to talk you through it. Just keep it going, pumping it out, belly in and up, belly in and up. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hook your thumbs above you. Big, big inhale. When you reach the top of the breath, hold the breath in. It does help to drop the chin back a little bit. Kind of creates a lovely seal. You hold until it gets, before it gets stressful. You don't want it to feel stressful. When you need to, exhale, let your hands fall softly to your thighs. And in no rush, whenever you complete that, you can remove your block or pillow if you had one, come onto the tops of the feet. And then that might be enough. Some people feel a lot of sensation in the front of the ankles and tops of the feet here. If you want, you can walk your hands back. Maybe that's enough, or maybe you would lift your knees up, but you're really feeling into where it works for you, where it feels like you're finding that balance between effort and ease, between energy and softness. And then letting that all go, and go ahead, take it into a hands and knees position. You can start to move your spine around, send some breath into the backs of your knees, between your fingers. I like to think about little nostrils between all of my fingers and those little divots, those little canyons, like you could breathe in between your fingers. You might even think about spreading your toes out, that you could breathe in between all your toes. And moving, so you can simple cat-cow, arching and rounding the spine, or you can start to get a little bit more creative with it. And then what we're going to do here is keep this action going, keeping this cat-cow happening, but stick your leg out, stick your left leg straight out to the side. So you're in sort of a hands and knees gate pose almost. And you can continue to cat-cow your spine. I'm going to mirror you. So you're sticking your left leg out. And then can you also circle your hips around, shifting a little forward, a little back, round and round. I was having fun trying to create a figure 8 with my hips. And I noticed when I did that my foot that stuck out there wanted to move around. So I let it for a while, right? Just kind of letting the toes move, the leg move any way it wants to. And then I was exploring really planting the foot, toes pointing forward, and trying to circle or figure 8 the hips without letting that outer foot move. And it makes it different, doesn't it? This is the kind of thing, like, if my kid came downstairs right now, he'd be like, Mom, what are you doing? Weird, but good, right? It's good information for your brain. You can think of it like the more information, the more sensory information, the more movement information you put in, the better output you get, the better your body feels. So you're feeding your brain all kinds of movement information. Take the leg that stuck out there, that left one, cross it behind your right one now. I'll show you this way so you can see. So kind of like a Gomukhasana, just crossing the thighs by the knees. And then same thing, some movement, some cat, some cow, any other movement that wants to organically emerge from within you, go for it. Let your body do the talking here in the form of feeling, sensation, noticing how it's different, right? Feeding the brain. Really good input here. And then go ahead and take your left leg, step it back. So we're going to slowly come into a plank. So ball the left foot on the floor, palms are really engaged and pressing into the ground. Right foot steps back. So now you're in a plank. You can always touch your knees down at any point, but we're going to try this here. So in your plank, just start to bend one knee gently and then switch and then bend the other one. It might come towards the floor. It might even tap the floor. Certainly doesn't have to. But almost like you're kind of walking in place here, bend and straighten, alternating the legs. We'll do it just a few more times. And then go ahead and take both knees down to the earth. You can uncurl your toes. So child's pose, but just some options here that if you are practicing with a mat, you might grab the outer edges of your mat in your child's pose so it becomes really active. Or if you don't have a mat like me, you could bring your block and put it in front of you on any height to bring your hands to it so that when you sink the hips back, you get a bit more spaciousness under and around the shoulders. You get a little bit more compression of the upper back and between the shoulder blades, that lovely squeeze, waking everything up. You could turn it on its medium side. I was liking that this morning. So take a moment, settle in, cultivating that sense of dropping in, breathing right down to your guts, staying really present, developing our capacity to stay with what is. And on your exhale, just allowing for a little more softness somewhere. Maybe it's in the face, maybe it's the jaw, maybe it's the belly, maybe there's just a layer of softening that could happen in the belly. It doesn't have to be all the way, right? Sometimes we're not ready to let go all the way. It's just a layer. So climbing out of that, keep your block handy somewhere and come on out, come to hands and knees. You can curl your toes under, come towards a downward dog, take a little bit of a tread through the legs and feet in your downward dog. And then try this, spin your heels to the right. So you're just swinging on the balls of your feet. Heels go to the right, bend your knees a whole bunch and squish back towards your heels. And then come back through center, downward dog, heels to the left, bend your knees a bunch, push back with the webbing of your hands like you're pushing the earth away. One more time, come back through center, spin the heels over to the right, bend your knees a bunch. Can you get the sole of your left foot down on the floor? I'm gonna step on it and then try to straighten my right leg back so that I'm in sort of like a kickstand side plank. Then the left hand can start to pick up. And I'm gonna take my left hand here to the base of my skull and really try to crane the elbow back, really pressing through the sole of the whole right foot, trying to turn the rib cage towards the sky, trying to draw the left elbow back in space, breathing down to the guts, breathing into the bone marrow, and on the exhale, a little more tenderness, feeling effort rise like a wave up the back body, and tenderness fall like rain down the front body. And then slowly turning back towards the ground. You can bring your left hand down, one leg dog. So the right leg will go up into the sky. Left foot's on the ground, right leg's in the air. Take a moment here. So I'm just gonna scoot away and come check you all out, but you can bend your knee, you can move things around, you can circle, you can curl your toes, roll your ankle, anything at all. And then we're going to head into the direction of a lizard. So a wider stance, taking right foot near the outer edge of your mat if you're using one, or outside your right hand. How about the back knee down? How does that feel? If it's okay, keep it there. If you want to place a blanket or a pillow under it, that would be wonderful. And then once you're here, a twist. So right foot is forward, the right arm is going to reach for the sky. And then that top hand, the right one, can you bring it down to your right thigh and press on it to lift your torso up away from the ground? Now I'm going to use a block again. So the block this time is going to come into my right hand and come about in line with my hip over to the right side. It's a good like 1.5 to 2 feet away from me. That way I can take a big side bend, left arm coming up and over, and have some support and not feel like the ground is so far away, right? But if you don't want to use a block, or if you don't need a block, if you don't have a block, your right hand or fingertips can find the floor, and experimenting a little bit. Where are my shoulders in space? Where are my hips in space? Where is my tailbone? What shape is my spine in? And if I change it, what happens? Right? Just continuing to feed the body and brain all this wonderful information so that we can glide through space, so that we can be more graceful in our movements. And then from there, coming up, you're going to take both arms, maybe with your block, and walk them around to the left. So you come out sort of on the diagonal. I'll mirror you and show you this way, just in case you want to look. So your front foot is in lizard. Your hands are going to walk out away from it. I was really liking left hand down, right hand on the block, almost that same feeling of a block in child's pose, where you have a little elevation of the arm and you can melt the shoulder, the armpit down towards the floor. So just a suggestion, as everything is here. I know it's a bit longer than we might usually stay in a lizard, but really kind of digging into that idea of resourcing ourselves, of showing up, not distracting ourselves, not using this practice as just another way to sort of check out, zone out, try to feel good. I mean, it's great if you feel good, but feel everything that you feel. And then coming back, walking yourself back, hands in front of you. Take a moment, just settle in for one more second here in this lizard. Can you empty the pelvis? Can you let it just pour like water down towards the floor? And then we're going to come into a wide-legged stance. So what I'm going to do is walk my hands in towards me a little bit, tuck the back toes under. And as you lift your back knee, you can start to turn towards the left and walk to the long side of your space. Come to a wide-legged fold where you could reach for opposite elbows as you hang. Take note of which forearm is in front here, because we'll switch it next time. Could feel nice to sway a little bit, to rock. You could keep your legs straight. You could bend them. And then do put a little bend in them, or even a lot of a bend in them, to start rolling your way up to stand. We're going to take the arms up. So keep the arms as you are. And when you come all the way up to this wide-legged stance, bring your arms up above your head. And then when you get there, we're going to take a twist. So turning, take your right elbow, drop behind you, left elbow forward. And then once you've got this twist to the right, you can start to create any amount of a back bend that you can still breathe, that you can live in this house here, that it doesn't get all stiff and sharp and uncomfortable, but you can really still feel some softness in your skin as you lift the bottom tip of your heart up, as you lift the bottom back ribs up. And then coming back through center, we'll do the same thing, other side. So turning your body to the left, and then finding a little more length through your spine by rooting through the feet, feeling the effort rise up the back of you as you arch a little bit backwards, and then the softness, the grace, spilling down the front ribs, softening the front of the heart. And then turning back to center between your legs. You can release your arms, fall forward again, come all the way down to the floor. Take a moment there. And then start to walk your way back around to the front of your space for downward dog. Let's take it out into a plank pose. And then really slow, lower your plank to the floor. You can always touch your knees down at any point. When you get to the ground, elbows underneath you, Sphinx pose. So finding a really elegant shape here. That softness washing down the front, down your eyes, down your cheeks, softness in the lips and the throat. Try this. If it feels okay, you could bend your right knee and turn your head, your upper spine to look at your right foot. And then back to center, dropping the right foot to switch. The left knee will bend. And you turn your upper back, your head, your chest to look towards your left foot. And come back to center. And if that was okay, you could maybe try that in a cobra. I'm going to come onto fingertips and have my hands wider than my shoulders. So I've got lots of space here. And then coming up into as big of a cobra as you want. And then doing that same thing, bending the right knee to turn and spiral from the navel up through the crown to try to see the right foot. And then release. And one more time, left side, turn. Twist, bend. Oh, it's even nice to kind of squeeze your shoulders forward one at a time and then come back to center. Let everything just dissolve and descend, heart melting down, head melting down. Press your palms underneath your shoulders, curl your toes under, come to all fours. And then maybe you grab that block again because we're going to start all of it over from the very beginning. So the block going between your feet, if you're using one for Virasana. Remember, you can sit any other way that works for you. Always take good care of yourself. Arms up, stick your thumbs up like hitchhiker fists. Take a breath in and out, clear the way, and then we'll take another round of Kapalabhati. Go for it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hook your thumbs above your head. Huge inhale, a global breath, a planetary 360-degree full breath. Hold it at the top, chin back and down just a touch. Hold until you can't anymore. Before it gets stressful is when you let the arms fall and the breath completely empty from your body. Feeling the effects of your practice. Yoga Sutra says that through the practice of pranayama, the veil that covers our inner light is removed. So beautiful, isn't it? So you can take your block out, tuck your toes under. You can either stay. If you wanted to try it this time without using the block, go for it. But you can grab that block at any time. I'm going to stick it underneath my knees. Again, you could put a pillow or anything else there. Arms up, stick your thumbs up in the air. And here we go. Take a breath in and out. And then you're going to fill up for Kapalabhati one last time. Five, 4, 3, slow it down. 2, 1, hook thumbs, big inhale. Maintain the breath at the top, a little lock of the throat, Jalandhara Bandha. In your own time, when you need to release, arms float like little birds down to your thighs. All the breath out. You might even hold the breath out for a moment. Need to, or when you're ready to, you come off of the block and uncurl toes. So you can stay or you can walk your hands back just like we did before. You can do any amount of rocking back. Sometimes it's nice to wobble around a little bit and get into all the fascia of the feet and all the little ligaments and tendons and try to feel every little bone in there. And then coming to a hands and knees position. And cat-cows, right? Cat-cows, any way you want to do them. Start to move your spine. You might think about the different sections of your spine or even the very separate bones of your spine. Are there certain parts of it that feel really clear to you? Can you picture what's moving? Can you picture the different bones? Are there some that feel kind of blurry? Some that feel stuck together? Or some places that feel really clear? Go ahead and stick your right leg out to the side and continue that spinal exploration. You can start to really move the pelvis around now. can explore keeping the right foot grounded or letting it move any which way. And then continuing this movement, one last position of the legs, crossing the right leg behind the left, coming to this little almost Gomukhasana position, and continuing flexing and extending the spine, circling the hips, moving the shoulders, letting the head just go organically where it wants to go. Have your block handy again. If you have one, again, all this can be done with nothing, but go ahead and step your right foot back, toes tucked under. Gonna come to plank again, but this time a block between the thighs if you want. If you got one, if you want to try it, you can stick your block between your thighs. If you don't have one, you could do it without. And then now we're gonna try both knees at once, coming down almost or to the floor, and then back to plank. Nice and slow, squeeze the block as you do it, bend and lengthen. My knees, I feel best when they come a couple inches from the floor, not all the way down. That's where I feel like I get the most benefit, but you can play a couple more times, bend and lengthen, right? Resourcing ourselves here, going into the fire and staying with it, not trying to distract or run away. We can do hard things without becoming hard people. And then next time you bend the knees, touch them all the way down. Child's pose, where you could either grab the edges of your mat or place your hands, wrists, palms on a block, snuggle hips back to heels and take a big armpit stretch. Good. And then letting that go. All fours to downward dog. Take your time. Feel your palms sensuously touching your mat or the ground. Your feet can spread out and tread. Noticing your spine again. Breathing into your guts. Inhabiting the whole body as you exhale. And then go ahead and lift your left leg up and give it a wave around a bit. You can bend it, shake it, open it, close it, curl it. What does it want? What do your bones crave? You're going to bring that into a lizard eventually. So you can go ahead and start to prepare. Left foot outside of left hand. See how it feels to put the back knee down. Stick something cozy under it if you need. If you want your block to start with, go for it. You're going to twist first, so the left arm reaches for the sky. Spaciousness front and back, side to side. Feel the depth of your body. You can bring your left hand to your thigh for some help, pressing your torso up nice and tall. And then I'm going to use this block, right, and bring it over to the left side and lean on it. So my left hand on the block, or you can put it on the floor, that's fine. A big side bend up and over with the right arm. Spreading out whatever touches the ground. Can it spread out a little bit? Like you're pouring water into the soil. And then we'll come into that sort of lateral walk away kind of situation. As you come down, you can take your block with you and walk over on the right diagonal. It doesn't have to be a lot. Just see what works for your body today. If you want to take the block out underneath your left hand, that can feel really nice. That same thing of kind of letting the armpit have a lot of space. But play, find a shape that feels like you could live here for a bit. Starting to crawl your way back little by little, palms coming in front of you or on the block in front of you for just another moment to let things descend. To Feel the wave of effort rise up the back of the spine and the wave of tenderness soften the heart, the front ribs, the belly, the throat. And stepping back, downward dog, because I forgot something. So step back to downward dog. Then heels to the left, bend your knees, squish back, back through center, heels to the right, bend your knees, squish. And one more time, down dog, heels to the left, bend, squish, step on your right foot, try to stretch your left leg straight so the pinky toe edge of it is on the ground, and then your right arm can reach up and behind your head. And as you press into your right foot and that razor edge of your left foot, trying to dial the rib cage open, trying to move the right elbow back like the hand of a clock from 12 o'clock or I don't know, wherever it might be. Mine's sort of at 10 o'clock actually. So can you move it to 11 or 12 or even 1 o'clock? And then letting that go nice and gently, looking down, bring your hand down. And now you can step your left foot forward and walk around to the long side of your space. So maybe you remember which elbow was in front last time, and maybe you've totally forgotten. And either way, it's fine. If you remember, put the opposite one. If you don't, just try the way that feels a little bit weirder. Sway, dangle, hang, wobble. And then soft knees to roll all the way up, taking your clasped elbows with you up into the sky. As you arrive in this beautiful length of yourself, you can twist any direction, doesn't even matter. Just twist your upper body to one side and then have any amount of lean back that you can still stay with yourself, that you don't start to get all hard in the throat, all rigid in the skin. And then back to center, same thing, other side. So it's really subtle, actually. It's not giant, the shape. It's a little twist. It's a little back bend. And then it's back to center where you can fall over your legs once again. Let the arms dissolve down. Take a breath at the bottom to really feel yourself arrive. Feel your body in space. Walk back around to the front. And from downward dog now, go ahead, step back. Downward dog to plank, and plank all the way to the earth. Take your time. Try to resist. See how much you can resist falling. And when you eventually do come down, we start right away in that cobra. We'll skip the sphinx this time. Fingertips nice and wide. And as I pick my chest up away from the ground, I'm going to turn my head to the right and bend my right knee as if I want to bring my right big toe to my ear. And I can also really squeeze the left shoulder in and pull the right shoulder back. So I give this lovely compression around the back of the heart and the shoulder blades. And then back through center. Same thing, other side, squeeze, twist, and bend. So you might do that again as you come back through center, or for a little extra challenge, you could try it in upward dog. So I'm gonna bring my palms down and my hands in a little closer, even a tiny bit back. And as I lift up into up dog with straight arms and legs that are floating, just the tops of the feet on the ground, try the same thing. So turning head to the right, trying to bring my right knee towards my right ear, really squeezing left shoulder forward and then back. So you can always go back to the cobra too, because I know this is really hard. Try the other side. You can even do it in sphinx again. And back. Oh, downward facing dog. Like a wave, roll into it. Allow the breath to flow all the way down to your feet. So your feet might feel like two big oceans at the bottom of your legs. And then go ahead and walk your way up to the front of your space. Take your time getting there. As you arrive at the top with a bend in the knees, pour yourself up into the sky. Roll up bone by bone. inch by inch up to standing. Feel your humanness, right? We're not statues. Feel your pulsating, vibrating aliveness. Your heart beating. Can you feel your heartbeat somewhere other than your chest? You feel it in your hands. You feel it in your knees, your ears, elbows. Try this. Take your arms up into a big V. And then with the right arm on the bottom, wrap yourself up in a hug. You can bend your knees and dip your head and chest down and try to get little tiny for a moment. And then keeping the arms straight and your legs to come up to stand. So we'll take eagle. Actually, I'll mirror you. So you've got the right leg on the bottom. You're going to put the right leg over your left leg. And you could do this so many ways, right? You could kickstand your right toes on the ground. You could put them on a block. It's a really nice way. You could cross just the thighs, or you could cross the thighs and the ankle. And then you can either keep your hands here, or then make the eagle arms by wrapping your forearms, pressing your wrists together. Elbows are going to go a little bit up, forearms a little bit away from your nose, and then try to bend your knees and sink your hips a little bit more. So before we go, you can picture it. We're going to try to land in a half moon here, slow as possible, like one of those birds, like a hawk that just caught like a gust of wind and floats on it without too much effort. You can start to unravel, and you're going to bring your left fingertips down to the floor, maybe to the block here, right? As the right arm reaches up, the right leg reaches back. Maybe you don't even touch the floor. So many ways to work this one. That's it. And then from there, reverse warrior. So go ahead, take a big step back with the right foot. Pinwheel your arms open and take a nice lean back. From there, cartwheeling 2 hands to the floor. You can go ahead and pick that left leg up right into one-legged dog. So left leg's going to sweep up and back. Some of you, if it feels interesting, you might bend your knee and flip your dog. If that doesn't feel like what your body needs, skip that part. And we're going to move towards a pigeon. So there's some options here. You can slide your left knee forward towards your thumbs and settle in. Not all knees love this. If your knee is protesting, do it this way. Take the seated version, okay? So either way, you're perfect. You can let it land. If you're in this prone version and you want to walk yourself out and fold, go for it. If you're in the seated version, you could play with maybe moving your butt a little closer to your heel. We're going to live here just a bit. Can be some undoing that happens, some unraveling, anywhere your muscles have been really working, a lot of times working for no reason, right? Can they soften a bit, loosen muscle from bone? Let your breath lead you all the way to the bottom, all the way to your roots, all the way to your guts. And as you travel with your breath down to your center, down to your root, just feel yourself stabilizing, softening. Notice the rise and fall of phenomena around you. Everything's still moving and turning in the world, but we're steady. So bring ourselves out of this one. So if you are in the prone position facing the ground, you can push yourself up with your hands and turn towards the right. If you were in this seated version, just turn towards the right, undo the legs. We're going to come, I'll mirror you. We're going to come to a Janu Shirshasana, but a wide Janu Shirshasana position. So you can move your left knee back a bit and then add a little twist to it. So the left hand can walk behind you as the right arm crosses over. Right hand can be on your knee, your thigh, wherever it lands. Get a little lighter, a little taller, a little brighter. And then twist from your navel up through your rib cage. the heart, the throat, all the way up to the top of the head, and even a little beyond. Can you imagine that? And then as you release and turn back to center, might be another time to have your block here. You could put it on any side. I like it on the short side, on the inside of the right leg, and it's a nice place for your forearm to land. And then your other arm can reach maybe over your head. You can see how that feels. If you like that, stay there, or you can perhaps wrap it behind your back. And you can also play with your head, jaw, teeth, tongue. You know, does your nose want to turn down? Does your lower jaw want to loosen? Where does your tongue want to live? On the roof of the mouth or in between the roof and the bottom? I like dropping my ear to my shoulder. You can do it all, of course, without a prop as well. You float your way up like bubbles rising to the surface of a glass of sparkly water. Lightly coming up. Going to move towards Gomukhasana legs here. We sort of hinted at it in the beginning. You can move your left knee in towards the midline a little bit, and then the right leg can cross on top. And there's so many options. You can open the left leg out straight, or you can even sit more like Sukhasana, shin crossed in front of shin. I'm going to have a block again. It just feels really nice sometimes to give yourself a lot of support, right? So I like to lean forward. You can put your hands or your elbows on the block. Sometimes it's nice to put your elbows on the block and hold your head and press into your skull, your jaw, your cheeks, anywhere that feels good. It's nice to get the heels of the hands right underneath the cheekbones there. Oh, so nice for your sinuses. Give it a little massage. Right? Or you could just totally fold it forward and drape your whole upper body over your crossed legs. Let the earth have your weight. Give it over. And unraveling. As you unravel, you can come on up if you were folded forward. And just turning. I'm not sure which way you're going to face. If you unravel, it's kind of head in the direction of your top foot to step into downward dog. You might be facing the back of your space. Front. No? Oh, good. Okay. Or whichever. It doesn't really matter at all. And you can go ahead and walk your way up to the front. And we'll come into an eagle on the other side, starting by raising your arms up sort of triumphantly into a V in the sky, and then left arm will be on the bottom. Big hug. Try to really reach around maybe to your inner shoulder blade area. Bend your knees, round your back, snuggle in for a moment. And then as you press the earth away, this time, you got left arm under, you'll take your left leg over. And you can keep the arms as they are, or you can twine them together a little bit more. Spreading out the foot that's on the ground, make it wide. And then thinking first, Ardha Chandrasana, half moon. Thinking hawk floating on a current of air as you begin to unravel. Catch the breeze and tip your way down. Right hand to the floor, the block, or floating. Left leg back, left arm up. Reverse warrior, land your back foot at the back of your space. Peel your right arm up. Send your side ribs just spreading wide open, fanning like a great accordion, and then hands to the ground. can lift your right leg up into the sky one more time. You might flip it. Perhaps it feels good to drop the foot behind you, kind of turn yourself inside out. If not, you're staying with one leg dog. And we're all going to head into our own version of pigeon. So it might be right knee towards right thumb as you settle in. It might be that you spin around and you hook your right ankle over your left back. All good. And you're choosing to stay upright if that's what you need, or to come closer to the earth. Expanding our capacity. Stay. Oh, we got a visitor. Hello. Cutie. Want to do yoga with your auntie? Couple more breaths. Let everything drape. Just nestle into the ground. Delight in the weight of your body on the soft earth. And the sensation of muscles loosening from bones, breathing right down into the very deep center, the heart of your bones. And as you come out, whether you're seated or whether you're facing the ground, you can come out and come up and turn towards the left and set yourself up in this wide Janu Shirshasana position. No, it's good, Aya, let her stay. We all love a little cute face in the Zoom room. So Janu Shirshasana, right knee bent, left leg long, first with a twist. Head towards your bent knee, any amount of twisting. Trying to keep it gentle, trying to keep any aggression out of twists. I took Sandra's class the other day and it was so beautiful. She was talking about violence in the world and how it ends with us. You know, that even in a yoga practice, there can be some little minute forms of violence with ourselves. So can we remove that? There's no striving, no neediness, no violence, just inhabiting. You can unravel. If you want to use your block to lean your left arm on, go for it. Otherwise, the floor is there for you. You can take your right arm overhead. You can melt it behind your back. You can do as you wish with your head, neck, gaze. Returning, floating back up to the surface, or you can set up for your Gomukhasana, so pulling the right knee in a bit more, left leg crossing over, and you're making a shape that fits your body today. I always love to press into the arches of my feet and lift my hips up and try to really squiggle my knees and thighs together and then settle down right in the center between the feet. But I know that doesn't always work. We're all so different. So make it work for you. You could gather props if you like, or you could just hang. Delighting in the weight of your body. Here's a really lovely place to feel that, to let your weight drop and experience the gift of that compression, hydrating all your tissues. Your bones love compression. So even this, even something just as quiet and simple as this is strengthening the bones of your legs and hips. Make your way slowly back up. And this time just to undo the legs, Come down onto your back. You can keep your knees bent as you roll down. Have your arms by your side, your feet underneath your knees, about hip width apart. And go ahead, take a gentle bridge. Press into your feet, your palms, your forearms. Lift your pelvis towards the sky. Stay. Try to make your skin a little bit softer, your face a little bit more gentle. And then slowly melt your spine back down. Can you feel each bone? Maybe not, maybe just each section. Upper back, middle back, low back. Try bringing your feet all the way in together so that the big toe and heels are touching. Feet flat, zip your legs together, squeeze your thighs and knees together. Same thing. Come up into a little narrow bridge, press down to lift up. Stay up, try to stay at the very peak, at the highest height, and open your knees as wide as you're able to without losing the grounding of your feet. And then really pressing into the big toe mounds to squeeze the knees back together and try to lift the pelvis just 1 more millimeter or maybe 1 more inch. Squeeze your knees together, squeeze your thighs together, and slowly lower down. 1 more back bend. You could take any back bend. You could take another bridge if you want to separate your feet. If you want to take a wheel practice, palms by your ears, you could go ahead and press your way up into Urdhva Dhanurasana. You can do the imaginary back bend practice and lie flat on your back. And we'll complete everything today with a supine twist. So in your own time, when you're ready to come down from your back bend, you can descend. You can gather your knees in for a hug and wobble a little bit from side to side. There's no rush here. And you can drop your knees over to one side for a few breaths. Might be a shape in between before the other side, a hug or a happy baby. And at some point, drop your knees over to the other side. Any variation on this twist is always welcome. The last few moments just to be together at rest. Rest could look like lying on your back or sitting up. Rest could look like Shavasana or like a seated meditation. Gather any props, any extra warm clothes that you might want to have. Travel with your breath all the way down to the bottom. You could even travel with your breath. You can imagine traveling all the way to the center of the earth. And on your exhale, a deep softening. Opening up a field of transparency or intimacy to what your experience is in this very moment. Feel welcome to stay longer if you like. Otherwise, you can begin to stir, welcoming some tiny movement back, some flutters of the eyelashes or the fingers, some very luxurious rocking perhaps of the skull on the ground. Little by little, coming back, that we can be together. And maybe we do feel really good. That's great. And also, we're here to feel it all, to feel everything, to resource ourselves, and then to be of use. So bringing your hands anywhere that feels supportive, and a prayer on your body and your thighs. We send one Om out to each other, to everyone, to Ukraine, to everyone anywhere who's suffering. Breathing in. Oh. Thank you all so much.